101 Part-Time Jobs just reached over 400 episodes, and we just won 2 Independent Podcast Awards, one for Best Music Podcast and the other for Best Jingle, which we're very pleased with. We're an independent music podcast, and we've been able to do so by advertising, working with brands and companies who we like and we believe in. We want to keep this show free and accessible to everyone. So for the next few minutes, you're going to be hearing some sponsored messages, and then we'll be on with the episode. Thanks for your support. If you're looking to buy your next instrument, piece of music tech, or accessory, look no further than Dawson's. Now with a brick and mortar store on the iconic Denmark Street here in London and online at dawsons.co.uk, Dawson's carries heritage guitars, Harmony, Mono, and other major music brands like Fender, Martin Guitars, Marshall, Orange Amps, and more. You'll hear on this show how guitars have songs in them. And it's true. I've been playing this Harmony Silhouette with Bigsby that you can hear beneath this. And I've now got to start a new band because the songs are flowing. So if you're looking to pick up something special, head to Dawson's on Denmark Street or online. And with the voucher code 101 Part-Time Jobs, you can claim 5% off the Dawson's online music store when you spend £100 or more. That's voucher code 101 Part-Time Jobs over at dawsons.co.uk. Happy playing! Hey, do you play in bands? I did for the longest time, and I wish that I knew that DistroKid was a thing. I don't even think it existed back then. DistroKid makes music distribution fun and easy with unlimited uploads, and artists keep 100% of your royalties and earnings. 1 million plus artists rely on DistroKid to get their music on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, TikTok, Tidal, Instagram, and all the major streaming services. When you get DistroKid, you can see a DistroKid bank and withdraw your earnings. You get notified when you've earned royalties, and you can withdraw via the app. And you can even check your streaming stats on Spotify and Apple. Get 30% off your first year on DistroKid by going to distrokid.com/VIP/101pod. 30% off for your first year. That's not bad. We know it's a tough world out there. Why don't you make it easier for yourself? And to get 30% off that free year as an artist, where you get 100% of your royalties and earnings, go to distrokid.com/VIP/101pod. All right, stay with me. I'll be right back after this.
Make your next move with American Express Business Platinum. You'll get 5 times membership rewards points on flights and prepaid hotels booked on AmexTravel.com. Plus, enjoy access to the American Express Global Lounge Collection. And with the welcome offer of 150,000 points, your business can soar to all new heights. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-platinum. Amex Business Platinum. Built for business by American Express.
This episode is brought to you by Atlassian. Atlassian makes the team collaboration software that powers enterprise businesses around the world, including over 80% of the Fortune 500. With Atlassian's AI-powered software like Jira, Confluence, and Loom, you'll have more time to do the work that matters. In fact, Atlassian customers experience a 25% reduction in project duration per year. Unleash the potential of your team at Atlassian.com. Atlassian.
Yeah, you're listening to 101 Part-Time Jobs with me, Giles Bidder. It's the podcast where we hear from bands and artists about all the different side hustles they've done along their way. And Emma Richardson, the new bass player in Pixies, did exactly that with her first band, Band of Skulls, coming out of Southampton 10, 15 years ago. working different side hustles while owning their craft playing music. That's it. That's the reality of it. And Emma's now playing in the Pixies, joining that stellar lineup. Pixies are just one of those bands. I often describe them, or often think of them, as the guitar band that people who aren't in guitar bands adore. And I think that's true. Pixies have got a new record out called The Night the Zombies Came. I think it's a great record. It's a solid record. Emma's singing is all over it. Her and Charles's voice really meld. There's a really great sound on this. The Night the Zombies Came, the record's called, and they're going on tour next year. They're doing Europe, and they're coming to the UK in April and May in 2025. So you can catch Pixies playing a pretty inarguable set list then. Cheers for listening to this. If it's the first time that you're hearing this show, we put out 2 episodes every week with bands and artists who we think are interesting, stuff that you may already know about, and others that we're introducing you to, hopefully in a good way. So make sure you subscribe to get notified. Cheers for listening. Here's Emma Richardson of the Pixies here on 101 Part-Time Jobs. 101 Part-Time Jobs.
It was an incredible time of my life, you know. I mean, I've only ever been in that band and now the Pixies, so it was an incredible time. I spent my whole life kind of writing songs with Matt and Russell and other people we worked with after that. We kind of cut our teeth together. We were kind of a gang from sort of school and college. Yeah. We put on club nights together. We did it all, you know, we hung around together all the time. So, and then we went on to travel the world together and play so many shows and support some incredible bands and do lots of headline tours ourselves. So yeah, it's an amazing time in my life.
You remember the good parts then?
I do. I mean, you know, with every band there's always, you know, things, isn't there? But
For sure.
Yeah, no, it was an incredible time.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Southampton.
Okay, so there's local gigs there. Joiners is there.
Yeah.
Had some like pub venues. And there's always been kind of bands in Southampton, right?
Absolutely, yeah. It's always had a rich musical history. I always remember them being lots of different styles of music as well, coming from that city. It always felt like there wasn't like a sort of certain style of, like a genre of music everyone played, you know, from my town, you know. It was like there was dance music and hip hop and rock music, indie, like, you know, you name it, like electronic music. So yeah, it always felt like there was an exciting scene, lots of different club nights going on, lots of venues. Yeah. It's
the mixed bills. You like have like a ska punk band, then a metal band, then a hip hop band.
That's what made, I mean, we used to run our own club nights in Southampton, and we'd put on lots of our friends' bands, but also bands coming down from London and traveling through. And it was kind of became known as a bit of an eclectic lineup usually, or place to hear music you probably wouldn't maybe hear elsewhere. Friends DJing lots of different styles. We had like B-movie horror nights and kind of theme things, and it was a lot of fun, you know.
That is awesome. I used to go down to this house called the Homestead.
Right, yeah.
Did you know it? It was like sort of a bit of a punk house.
Yeah, lots of like living room gigs and stuff.
Loads of crusties. Loads of dogs on string. Actually, no, it was more middle class than that, actually, but tell the truth. When did you sort of calm down? How did it kind of wind down in the end after you know, having those years of touring and releasing records?
Yeah, well, I mean, Russell's still going with the name, and he's still playing shows and writing, and but yeah, it got to a point. I left sort of around the time of lockdowns and COVID, and just after that, I moved away from the band because I wanted to concentrate on painting full time, because that was what I actually studied.
Oh wow!
Beginning sort of during sort of school and college, and went to Wimbledon School of Art and did a painting degree. And it was like that was my trajectory for a while, and then Band of Skulls sort of happened. Yeah, and you don't say no to that sort of stuff. So
that must have been to say, hey, like, I'm leaving the band to do this other thing that's in my blood. I mean, even when you know you want to do something, it's still hard to say it out loud, right? Especially if they're your friends, you know, they're your best friends.
Yeah, completely. It's a very difficult decision. I didn't take it lightly, you know. And I think, it's just during that time, like COVID and lockdown, and I think a lot of people had a similar experience where you do tend to kind of reevaluate what you're doing with your life and who you are and what you want to do. And I definitely had a moment of spending more time painting. We were making a record at the time as well, the Marsden and Richardson album. We recorded that in Russell's home studio. But I was painting a lot at the time, and I realised how I'd always kind of tried to keep both going. I'd paint when I'd come home from tour, and I'd have shows and exhibitions still, but it wasn't something I could do full time. So when I had this time finally to really get back to it, it was a real powerful moment for me to realize, wow, I really have missed this, and I would love to be able to try doing it full time, even, you know, to try and make a living from it, do it professionally. So that was a huge decision, which I had to make, you know, and yeah, it was very sad to kind of have to leave something behind, but also I had this very strong desire to see what I was capable of artistically, and where it would take me.
And giving yourself that sort of time of day to just think about it, I imagine, right? Because when you're playing all the time, you're rehearsing or traveling, like that's time not spent thinking about the art and just pondering on ideas. That's the real gold.
Absolutely. Having a space, like a room of one's own, you know, you're in a room on your own, which is quite rare on tour or writing or recording.
Yeah.
And I mean, I do thrive in that environment of being able to be surrounded by, you know, imagery or artwork or ideas or thoughts or notebooks and just things that I find interesting and inspiring to me. And yeah, it felt like a very much needed space to have that at that moment in time when everything was going on. And, you know, it was quite difficult to make work, obviously, when everything was, you know, like the lockdown was happening initially. But after a while, there was a bit of space and a bit of time to maybe push it. So, yeah.
So you got into that space. How did those couple of years work out? Were you selling paintings? Were you meeting dealers, building a website, getting people out, getting your work out there?
Yeah, I applied for an Arts Council grant, so from Arts Council England, for developing my creative practice. Yeah. So that covered me for materials and time for about a year. So part-time, really.
Yeah. Well done for getting that, because that's not easy because those applications are pretty thorough, right?
Yeah, they're pretty intense. But I had a little help, and I had, just to be able to do my research and get, some helpful tips from quite a lot of different people. And I really wanted it, I really needed it.
Yeah.
So it felt, it's like, this has to happen, help me fund it, because there wasn't much money going around at the time, because there was no touring, there was no, And
at that point, like, that's where your income had come from, is touring.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that was our kind of, our income. So,
I mean, good on you to be a band and make some money at all.
Yeah, I mean, we all started out, I mean, it took us a good 10 years to sort of get going with the band, and we all had, pub jobs and worked in bars and clubs. I waitressed and, worked in many different roles and did lots of different jobs for a long, long time alongside the music.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we all kind of worked alongside for a long, long time, and then we got a break and we ended up signing to a label, and, we ended up getting a little bit of money each month, and it was like the first time.
Dream. That
feeling was so amazing. I remember it just like the first time where we could all kind of go to our jobs and say we're done, we're leaving to do the music full time. Like, it was such a momentous moment for any member of any band, I think, to have that feeling.
Yeah. And what does that instill in you, to be paid, and like, call it validation or call it just like, physically you're getting paid for doing the thing that you like and this projects that you built with your bandmates. What kind of frame of mind does that put you into? Because we've been taught our whole lives you're going to work for someone else. So to then work for yourself, I guess, there's loans and there's money payback for the label and advances and all that. But really, you're working for yourself. What kind of mindset does that put you in? I mean, that's like a reshifting of the way you see the world, I can imagine.
Do you know what? I think the most important thing, it gives you freedom to think and space to create. And you feel kind of, there's a sort of feeling of like, this is real, this is legitimate. We can, because you can do it full time and spend that time making great work. Not that you can't do that with a job, because that is also, you know, it is great to have that balance and have you know, concentrate on a couple of different things. And
Totally.
but it's the freedom to work and tour and write and have space and meet other people and get inspired, and you know, and we were very, very lucky to be able to do that for, you know, it was a good sort of 10 years and ongoing, really. So
you made some good friends along the way.
Very much so. Yeah.
Who are the characters that stick out? Who are the people that you ask for advice, or I don't know, people you'd send demos to?
Yeah, a lot of the producers we work with were always really amazing and helpful and eye-opening with advice, and just working with great minds, isn't it? Ian Davenport, definitely our first producer who we worked with on Baby Darling Dollface Honey. He was an incredible inspiration and influence, and he had a great just ease about him in the studio, and he let us kind of be ourselves, but also kind of made sure we kept that kind of like live essence and the groove, and not overcomplicate things too much, you know. Don't drown everything out with loads of different sort of pedals and sonics too much if you don't need it. Keep the kind of essence of the band there, which was really important. And just being honest in your vocal delivery and lyrically, just making sure it's, you know, it's real, you know. Yeah. But many people, Nick Launay, obviously, you know, incredible to work with, Gil Norton, all these people we've had a chance to work with.
And did you have those people's voices in your mind when you were making art as well, when you were painting?
I more so had, I guess for painting it was like a sort of shift for me, and for me it was being in another kind of space, and I kind of look up to my heroes, or look at painters I love.
Who's that? Who are the painters that you love?
Oh God, there's so many. I'm probably one of my favorite painters is Peter Paul Rubens, one of the old masters.
Okay.
Just incredible. There's this painting of his called The Fall of the Damned, it's been a bit of an inspiration. I've always had it on my wall somewhere, or a photocopy of it somewhere. But just kind of this cascading, like heaven and hell scene where bodies are sort of descending into hell, or descending up to heaven. It's quite graphic and quite a gnarly painting, you know, but the colours are incredible. The flesh, the way he paints flesh, another level. But I love so many artists. I mean, female abstract expressionist painters like Joan Mitchell, the female surrealists like Leonora Carrington, and I love, there's a woman called Maria Lasnig from Austria. She paints almost how it feels, how she feels, her body feels almost. So she does these amazing portraits, but they're quite sort of wild colours, kind of almost sort of luminous greens and pinks. But she's an incredible painter. I'm just started reading her biography. It's really interesting.
Brilliant. Reading biographies are interesting. It's kind of I say this is the way I just sort of describe autobiographies or biographies, is that it's kind of proof of concept.
Right. So.
You know, when you read of someone else's story and the way that someone else has done life, and you're like, oh, it is possible. You know, it is possible to do exciting things and go through the highs and the lows, and life isn't boring. You know?
But reading about other people's drive and that kind of insistence, or just following that kind of dream, you know, and just, you know, if you love something, go and do it. Don't waste time, you know, go and try.
And it sounds like a cliche, but it's fucking true.
Yeah, very much so.
You know, you can have a dream about anything. You can have a dream to be like, to do anything. And you're right. I think that's the most value that we have in life. I think that's the most agency we have in life.
Very much so. Yeah.
So you got into the painting, which are great, by the way, and those colours, and I can see the feeling that you're bringing from that Peter Paul Rubens. Yeah. I can see that in your artwork. And so you were doing that. Were you selling in lockdown?
I ended up having there's a few friends who were interested in buying pieces, and then there was people who knew the band, who were fans of the band, and then they also then discovered I painted as well. I took a course run by the most brilliant mentor, Kerry Hand, who is a brilliant artist mentor, and she helped me along with a group of other artists. Basically, just it's like a kind of course of just to get the nuts and bolts sorted out of your professional career. So how you market yourself, how you run your business as a sole trader, how you set up your website, how you promote yourself. It's all these things that you kind of don't get taught in art school. And it was just such a refreshing course to do, to kind of almost sort of relearn these things now for this artistic, creative career that I was kind of restarting almost. But yeah, that really helped, just having a bit more confidence in running my own business, and aiming high, not just sort of going, oh, maybe I could make a bit of money if I did this and this. It's like, well, how much money do I need to survive? How much money would I like to earn? And then work back from that and make it happen.
Yeah.
And do the right things. So connect with the right people, make an effort to go to other people's shows, discover galleries, talk to curators, build yourself a network with people you really like hanging out with and you respect, and that hopefully will respect you in turn. So it just felt like a eye-opening moment, lots to learn, lots to discover. And I ended up moving from Southampton to London, getting a studio up there, which I'm, in London now. And it's been the best thing. It's like, I don't know, it's sort of dreaming my way into a place where I wanted to be and then slowly seeing it happen. It's kind of been a crazy few years. So yes, I started to sell work, and I've got some collectors now who have bought work from me, and I have shows. I've been to sort of exhibiting in art fairs. I've met a lot of amazing curators and gallerists and amazing painters, become good friends with a lot of people who are very talented and just doing amazing work. So it's been a good few years.
Brilliant. And that growing and that kind of going into the unknown, I mean, that's a whole life, isn't it? You can spend your whole time, every waking hour, thinking about that and building your career.
Yeah.
You can become obsessed with it, I imagine.
Well, it's quite daunting as well. It's like, it's the unknown, isn't it? I'm not sure if people are going to buy my work or want to show my work, but I believe in it. I feel like I've got lots to learn still. Painting is just a constant it's sort of just progress all the time, or not progress, or going backwards and having to relearn everything, or just not trying to not to kind of changing the rules all the time, so you keep it playful and see what comes out and what inspires you. And I don't know, it's just that's the addiction of painting. I think it's the kind of constant. You think you have a hold on it. Each painting that you finish, whether you like it or not, you think you've got somewhere with it, and then each new painting is like you have to start from scratch again, because it's gonna teach you something completely different. And just incredible.
Yeah, you hear people talk about writing albums like that. They'll finish an album, third album, and they'll be like, will I ever write a song ever again? Because it doesn't feel like I can. Yeah. Well, so you were in a good place when Pixies asked you to join?
Yes, I was in my studio painting away, and I got a phone call out of the blue. I spoke to their management. I spoke to, I got recommended, I found out, by Tom Dalgety, who's a producer who's been working with them for a few records. He worked with Band of Skulls as well. He helped out with our second record, Sweet Sour with Ian, Davenport and Rockfield, and we did a few tracks with him. And so there was that connection, which was a nice kind of link. And then I spoke to Charles on the phone, and we talked about music and art, and it was just a really nice chat. And from then on, I kind of rehearsed a little with them, and then
brilliant. Do you remember those first conversations and that first chat? Because I guess you kind of like joining a band that's been going as long as I've been alive. It's like, okay, they probably have what they want in mind. You're like, okay, what are the words I'm about to say now over the phone will either make or break this cool opportunity. I guess at that point you weren't relying on it, right, for your life, but it's still a fucking rad opportunity.
Yeah, it was an incredible moment. It all felt very natural and calm and easy, and there was no sort of yeah, I mean, they're a well-established band. They're an incredible band, very influential band. Obviously, I'm a big fan of them as well. So, it was an absolute honor to be asked to even be considered for that role. And I'm not a session player as such. I come from just one other band, so it sort of felt, a little daunting at first.
Yeah, because it's the first time you'd be going up and being like, okay, how do you want it? How do I want it? You're slotting in like a session player would be well versed at.
Indeed, yeah. But I did my homework. I learned everything I needed to learn, and I showed up, and it was very easy to obviously kind of fit in and play with it. They're incredible players. They know the songs really well. It's like being able to kind of just join and play, and it just feel kind of quite seamless. And just, I had a few pinch myself moments of kind of singing, like rehearsing "Where Is My Mind" and things like that. Wow, this is actually happening. It was crazy, but no, they've just been incredibly welcoming, and they're all lovely people. And yeah, it's really great to work with them.
Any awkward moments that are now funny that you can look back on and laugh about?
Not really. It was all very just cool and calm, and
just polite.
Yeah, very polite, and just everyone was just super friendly and relaxed. And it's that kind of slowly getting to know each other, isn't it? You kind of you make new friends, and you kind of you hope you come across okay, and it's but I think there's something about when you're playing with other people in a group or with music, it's because there are you don't need words, you can play. There's a kind of something happens when it's good, and there's a kind of unsaid sort of like there's a mutual respect, and it felt great. It was a real buzz.
Did you ever, and like I don't want to get you in trouble or like ask you things you don't want to say, but there are those moments from documentaries where they've been kind of going at each other's throats, and like, everyone's been wasted. And like, I think anyone would do that. Anyone in the world put in a rock band with loads of booze and whatever else would go a bit mad and like maybe have fights or arguments. But I imagine it's like going into, I guess it is a cliche to say a family, but it is a family. Because, if you came to dinner around my family, and if you'd seen a documentary of my mum going nuts 15 years ago, you'd be like, oh, I don't want to piss her off, but was there any of that? Were you like, okay, I'm going to watch my words because I don't want to get insulted?
No, not at all. No, not at all. It was great. It was fun. It was a really good, like that first kind of week or so of rehearsing was amazing. And just, everyone's lived a life, haven't they? Everyone's sort of, had experiences and had done incredible things, and good and bad or whatever. But it's like this. It feels like a kind of a new era,
And you're all over this new record. Your voice is all over it.
Yeah, they wanted me to sing quite a lot on it, which I was surprised by, but it was great to kind of harmonize and work out vocal arrangements and sing with Charles, and it felt very natural. Yeah,
your voices complement each other massively.
Thank you. Yeah,
and it felt good.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
Would you sit around with Charles and as a Giles? I haven't said the word Charles very much. Would you sit around with Charles with an acoustic? How do you work out the melodies?
Yeah, they sort of had the songs pretty much together, and I came in and kind of added bass and vocals. I worked with them and Tom sort of just to see what they were after, and they were quite open with letting me kind of just have a go and see what worked, which was amazing. The freedom to kind of play and just sing. And there's a song Chicken, which was really amazing to kind of add lots of layers, and this kind of Tom made it sound real this blooming moment in this song, which really, really worked well. But no, it's really exciting to play and see what worked really, and to serve the song with the bass and the vocals. It's like, what's best for this amazing song? How can I kind of tuck in there and make it sound solid, and work with David and sort of hold on to that groove with him. As a bassist, I find it, for me, I like hearing music when, especially Pixies, they have such a a known bass sound and a bass style in the band. So it's almost sort of sticking to that kind of world, but bringing my own sort of thing to it.
Yeah. Are you still working that out?
Yeah, a little bit. My playing, I like to kind of hug close to the kit, to the drums, and make sure it's kind of driving and it has that kind of power that it needs. But also, there's a little personality in there. There's a little melody. There's something that complements the vocal or the lyric or the, where it's moving. But it's got to have groove. It's got to work.
Yeah.
With what the song is doing.
Have you had a chance to sort of get into that groove of live when like the song almost starts to evolve, like the song changes, like it does? It's a living thing.
Yeah, I mean that happens most. I mean they're amazing to play with live. The songs are just incredible, aren't they? I mean, it's just amazing.
Wow.
So to be able to, then translate that into the live setting and especially playing these new ones live has been really exciting, just to see how they can evolve from the recorded to the live sound. And and I have no pedals, I have like a tuner. So it's like,
okay,
it's the kind of minimal, sound.
That's different for you.
It works well. I used to have not a huge pedal board, but I had, a few things to tap during certain songs, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you feel a bit raw. You're out there. You're like, okay, you got nothing to heart. Almost nothing to do to kind of keep your mind off of the thing at hand. Yeah,
but it's great. You can, it's being able to concentrate on, it's locking in and that feeling it, and singing and playing and focusing on the feeling of it, and
mm-hmm.
rather than just distracting yourself with other things. Yeah, playing with a pick was the first.
Okay.
I played with my fingers before, but this is obviously you have to play with a pick on these songs. So yeah that was a whole new experience.
Yeah. How long did that take you to start playing with a pick? I mean, it's a completely different way of playing.
Yeah, it was. I had a couple of months to kind of learn the back catalogue, so it kind of it came quickly, and it was fine. It was good. Yeah.
How many shows has it been?
I don't know the actual total of shows, but we've done like 3 or 4 tours now since, I guess I've been out with them live since March.
Okay.
So we've done a fair few months, like Europe and UK, and then around America with Modest Mouse and Cat Power.
Yeah, they're so sick.
That was a brilliant tour. They're such great bands, all wonderful people.
And it's flown by.
Yes, in a busy year. But a lot of fun. It's been quite a wild ride. Yeah.
Pixies will just be one of those bands that will never disappear. There's so many people who don't listen to guitar music anymore. Maybe they had 4 years in high school time, but Pixies will still be one of their favorite bands. The Pixies are one of those bands that will just always like stand the test of time. Yeah,
they're pretty timeless. The songs are timeless. They kind of speak to people no matter what age, I think, and it's you see there's a lot of young kids down the front, all wearing Pixies t-shirts, knowing all the words. So there's feels like this whole new generation of people who are getting into the music and they know it really well. It's amazing to see. Yeah.
And it's great to see a woman on stage. I used to think that it would be a bit on the nose to even talk about this kind of thing, but it's important because, especially if you grow up just full of white guys, usually middle class, usually straight, playing music, it doesn't. There needs to be like a visual or like a touching stone for people who aren't that.
Very much so. Yeah, it's about having role models, isn't it? I think seeing people like you doing it.
Yeah.
And there wasn't that many. I didn't have that many. It felt like female bass players wise, there are a few, aren't there? But I don't know. It's great that the more women up there, the better. That's for sure. I think it's always very important to see lots of different sides of life and how other people live. Definitely, yeah.
So are you painting? Are you able to paint when you're on tour?
I tend to kind of take supplies with me so I can paint and draw. I do have the sort of urge to do it a lot. So I tend to just use acrylic on paper or watercolors or just sketch. I've got lots of sketchbooks and just in hotel rooms or on the bus or when there's a spare minute, just kind of make them work.
So have you noticed your style kind of develop, or maybe your surroundings have a kind of impact on what you're putting on paper?
I think it definitely it frees you up working on the road, because it's kind of, you have to work quickly and you have to, I don't know, for me, it's kind of sketching ideas that might become paintings in the studio. So it's kind of coming up with loose ideas or color sort of combinations or sort of compositions or structures or something. But I did a bunch during this year, and a couple of them I've actually got in a show in Margate at the moment, 2 pieces on paper at Liminal Gallery. Nice. Brilliant gallery. And it's a group show. But it's just great to be able to think about the possibilities of what's next for bigger paintings in the studio when I get home. And that's the excitement, because then I can really, when I have a break, I can go and make a body of work. And it's that thrill of, having that balance of having both. I feel very lucky to be in this situation where I can flip-flop between playing in this incredible band and then coming home and having studio time and making work which really, pushes me, or I'm trying new things, taking that inspiration from all the places I've seen, the things I've seen, the people I've met, the experiences, it all feeds work.
Yeah. And on a practical sense, you kind of got a dual income.
Yes, that obviously helps. Yeah.
Where you could maybe put away some money, or, not be so worried, or, whatever it means, having a little bit more money than you would have had.
Yeah, I think it definitely, it feels, that having that security, I think, for me is important. So I've always tried to save a little just in case, just to have that fallback. Especially always having worked in that kind of world of being a freelance, or sort of, working for yourself. Yeah. I think that was always sort of instilled in me as from a young age as well. My dad always worked for himself, and there was always that kind of, you've got to look out for the future and make sure, and that's not always possible in these roles. So it's definitely helpful and very an incredible position to be in, to be able to sort of fund my painting with the music.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, so glad to hear. It's really nice, and the record sounds awesome. Congratulations on the album. It sounds wonderful, and your voice really complements. Well, it's almost every song, I think, almost.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, fuck yeah. So, how are you feeling right now, today, or like looking towards the next group of shows?
It's so exciting to have the record actually out, and for sort of friends and family to hear it and see the responses from people, and then next up we've got the final kind of tour of the year, which will be in Australia and New Zealand, supporting Pearl Jam.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Stadiums, which is incredible.
You get to escape the winter and see Pearl Jam and Pixies every night. You get the best sound out of anyone.
Yeah,
Pixies.
It'll be a fun way to end the year, for sure.
Yeah, quality. Have you had some nice messages from friends?
Yeah, I've had amazing supportive messages from so many people. It's really been quite moving, just sort of seeing who's kind of got in contact, and
you can imagine
who champions you. It's been it's been incredible.
So there was Emma Richardson from the Pixies here on 101 Part-Time Jobs. Pixies' new record, The Night the Zombies Came, is out now, and you can catch them on tour in 2025. Cheers for listening to this. If you want to hear more, you can click subscribe and get notified as and when we put out 2 episodes every week, on a Tuesday and a Thursday. And next Tuesday, we have Christian Lee Hudson, who's an amazing songwriter. I'm loving his new record, Paradise Pop 10, which is out now, and you can go listen to that. All right, have a good one, and see you next Tuesday. That's a bit rude, isn't it?
101 Part-Time Jobs is hosted by Giles Bidder and produced by me, Olivia Swash. This has been a Mighty Moon Media production.
The average hospital visit can cost you around $12,000. So, do you have that kind of extra money lying around if you get sick? Me either. That's why health insurance is so important. Today, you can get health insurance plans for a couple of dollars a day and have health, vision, and dental insurance for you or your whole family. If you're moving or changed or lost your job, we have health insurance options perfect for you. What if you need health insurance for only a few months? We have short-term insurance options ready for you right now with fast approvals and cheap rates. Whatever kind of health insurance you need, we have it. One quick phone call and we'll find you the best health insurance options for you and your family for free. Call this number, 800-352-7084, 800-352-7084, 800-352-7084. For your free health insurance quote, call 800-352-7084. Paid for by healthinsurance100.com. Attention timeshare owners. This is an urgent consumer alert from the Timeshare Exit Hotline, a national company specializing in helping consumers legally get out of their expensive timeshare contracts. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So if you're fed up with the maintenance fees that keep on coming and want to learn if you can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently, call today. Even if you've tried before and were unsuccessful in getting rid of your timeshare, call today and see if we can help. We offer a complete 100% unconditional client satisfaction guarantee. Make this completely free call and learn how we can help you legally put an end to your timeshare nightmare once and for all. You have nothing to lose, so call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. 800-951-6756. 800-951-6756. That's 800-951-6756. Paid for by Airtime Media.